And now for our feature presentation.
He'll be fine on the mountain.
JB and Darren on the JB and Goldwater Show.
Line drive right field, base hit. South Carolina wins the College World Series. Watson, touchdown. Hunter Renfrow. He got him, and it's all over. Coastal Carolina rules the roost. They win the championship. And South Carolina has won the national championship.
Citadel baseball team has done it again, but this time the Bulldogs beat one of the top teams in the country. They are giant killers. Get the ball to Bennett. He does.
Gamecocks are in the Final Four.
It's a big week, boys and girls. Greetings and a good afternoon and welcome aboard the JB and Goldwater Show, live, loud, and online, and very proudly presented by Motley Rice, causes not just cases, MotleyRice.com, driven by Stokes Volkswagen, StokesVW.com. Get your new ride or your next ride at Stokes Volkswagen. It is Thanksgiving week. It's the most beautiful week of the year. It is rivalry week, and this week in this state, this rivalry game finally seems like it's going to matter once again. We're going to talk about all of that. Welcome aboard the JB and Goldwater Show. Follow us on social media at JB and Goldwater, individually at Sports Media JB, and at Darren Goldwater. The Share Healthcare chat lines are open, and they are already rocking. And you can be a part of our program by plugging in a comment there, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, wherever you're watching. Darren will pop it up, make it a part of our program, and it's going to move pretty quick today. 2 hours is going to fly because Patrick Davis will join us in less than 15 minutes. Wes Mitchell will join us in about a half hour. Perry Orth will join us at the top of the 1 o'clock hour, and then Gene Sapakoff will wrap things up at about 1:35 this afternoon. So it's a full slate. We're kicking off Clemson Carolina week with a bunch of great dudes. We got a lot of hoops. It's a hell of a day in basketball. And Carolina and Clemson both won this weekend, which makes today even easier for Darren and I, although he's dressed like an Auburn fan. He's not. Don't hold that against him. He is partially blind, according to his Twitter feed as well. But it all worked out. Carolina and Clemson coming up this week. That's going to be our main focus. By the way, real quick before I get Darren in here, a reminder, we're off on Wednesday. Friday, we will air from 10 a.m. until 12 p.m. 10 a.m. until 12 p.m. on Friday. That is also the big Gamecock preview show. But we're off Wednesday. So today, tomorrow, and then we'll see you again on Friday morning to get you ready for the weekend. With all that being said, there's my good buddy, Darren Goldwater. What's up, brother?
First of all, before I address that, shout out to the Citadel volleyball team. It is impossible to win championships at the Citadel. We talked about it with what Brent Thompson was able to accomplish with the Citadel, with what Mike Houston, before him, was able to do, what Ed Conroy did when I was the radio voice there. It's impossible to win. It's whatever harder than impossible is to win a women's title. And the women's volleyball team did just that. So congratulations to them. I believe they swept Wofford yesterday to claim the SoCon title. On to that punt thing. This Gamecock fan base can drive me nuts because even when you win, even when things go well, you find something to complain about. I don't care about the punt. I really don't care. Was it indisputable? Absolutely not. That's why it took them forever to make the call. I don't care that they ended up reversing it. I don't care that it went to the Gamecocks. It absolutely was not clear and obvious. So don't be complaining that it was if there are multiple opinions coming out and if people are sending me pictures so far zoomed in that you can't even see anything clearly because you've pixelated it so far. Look, it was close. It could have gone either way. Whatever.
Well, nobody's complaining. They're just trying to tell the people that obviously can't see that they're wrong, but nobody wants to listen. I was at the game, as I always am.
Then they got it right.
But exactly, that's the point. That's the whole point of this. People still think that it was wrong. It wasn't wrong. It was right. It was This is so easy to explain. It's stupid. The ball hit him in the leg. How do we know that? This is very, very easy. There's a 120-foot Ultra HD board there, and when they put the split screens up there, it was blatantly obvious the ball hit him in the leg, and we knew it. And I watched the replay on TV, and you could hear the crowd, and that was all of us going, oh, my God, the ball bounced right off his leg, hence why the Carolina guys picked it up, and we're like, hey, it's our football. They knew it right away. They reviewed it. They got the call right. It wasn't indisputable. That's why they overturned it. And Carolina beat them. And here they are in bowl season, which is amazing. 6-5. Darren, it really is amazing. I mean, honestly, for both teams right now, let's go back a month, right? Seriously, go back a month for both Clemson and South Carolina. Gamecocks, after that unbelievably awful performance at Texas A&M, you thought, holy cow, the world is coming to an end. Clemson wasn't a whole lot different. I mean, they literally couldn't score. They didn't know what was going on. They had players quitting. They had all these injuries coming all at once, Darren. It just seemed like this year was going right into the tank really quickly for the two major programs in the Palmetto State, and they both magically turned it around. I mean, Carolina did lose up in Missouri, but they've won 4 straight home games, and the last 2 are teams named Florida and Auburn. And I don't care for anybody out there that says, well, they're Auburn and Florida are having down years. Yeah, so South Carolina, but they won. So who cares if they're having a freaking down year? They're both more talented than the Gamecocks, and Carolina beat them. So they're in bowl season. Clemson, perceived to be having a down year. All of a sudden, they actually can still win their division and go win an ACC championship game. And what happens in Columbia this weekend has nothing to do with that. But the Tigers, guys, can still win 11 games. I mean, it's amazing how things change in football and how long the season actually is, Darren. It flies by, right? But when you go back 3 or 4 weeks for any team that you pull for and you realistically think about how much can change, look how much has changed, and then pair that with the rest of the landscape. Dan Mullen's out of a job. I mean, God knows who else is going to be out of the job following this Saturday's results. You know, there's always firings literally minutes after games end, the final game of the season. It's crazy where we are, but we're here, and it's fun again in November. Both fan bases in this state are optimistic, and that's what this rivalry is all about.
And for the Carolina fans, I've preached patience while meltdowns were happening at various different points throughout the year. Shane Beamer has exceeded expectations. Regardless of the outcome of Saturday's game, he's exceeded them, and he's getting national love, deservedly so, for doing just that. Because you pointed out a second ago, you don't care that Florida and Auburn are down. You're right. And they do have a more talented team, top to bottom, than the Gamecocks. And you still won the football game. The fact that he's got 6 wins, they won 2 last year. 2. He's got them at 6, and it hasn't looked good. You've got 3 quarterbacks playing, including a former coach and then a guy who transferred in from an FCS school who was your 3rd-string quarterback, and yet you've got 6 wins, including Florida and Auburn. Shane Beamer's done a hell of a job. He really has done a hell of a job. This has been more than I expected in year number 1, and there's still not only one more game with Clemson, then the work that can be put in before the bowl game, and then whatever happens in the bowl game. I'm never much concerned about results in a bowl game, but those practices as part of this whole transition to the new era, it's invaluable.
Yeah, it absolutely is. No doubt, Darren, and you hit the nail on the head. I mean, there's the detractors can cut it with whatever knife they want to, but at the end of the day, they got 6 wins, and largely nobody thought that they would. I was a believer that they would get to 6 wins, but Darren, you know a lot of the things that I know that we don't actually talk about around here. I mean, that's a more talented football team in Columbia than most wanted to give them credit for. It just is. And you pair that with the fact that they've had so many hurdles to clear, and we'll see. There's probably going to be some changes that happen in the offseason, and probably regardless of how many games they've won or will continue to win, probably still need to be made. I mean, it just is what it is. Okay. But at the end of the day, you brought up the way that it's being perceived nationally right now. Now that they've punched that ticket to the postseason, those national guys, it's the exact opposite of what I just said. They all didn't give them any credit coming into the season because they didn't know the ins and outs of what was actually on campus, putting on the uniform and things like that. All they knew was what they had been, and they knew that there was a new coach who didn't have any experience as head coach. So that's the national narrative, right? And now that they've gotten to 6 wins, the national narrative doesn't care how you got there, but you got there, and all of a sudden Shane Beamer's a hero. Whereas a month ago it was, oh, God, I don't know if this is a good move for South Carolina. Well, the Virginia Tech job is open, and now Shane Beamer's in bowl season. That's what comes with the territory, right? So what I'm kind of summarizing here is pretty much everything you just said, but trying to get people to think about it from the other side of, we've watched the grueling quarters and the tough minutes and the hard fumbles and the stupid play calls and all the stuff that everybody's complaining about all year. We've seen it move for move. But from a broad perspective, looking down, like the airplane type view across the country, at the end of the day, all everybody sees is, damn, they're 6-5. They're in bowl season, and they got a chance to beat Clemson this week. It's incredible.
That's one way to look at it. Yeah. The other is that the reason it's been bumpy and the reason it hasn't been so cohesive isn't necessarily just a guy calling plays or whatever the core has. That reference has been used a lot. The fact is, it isn't a team that is loaded in talent top to bottom compared to other teams that are on their schedule, compared to some that they've beaten this year. So partly the fact that it's been rocky is because it's not a team that is loaded with talent. The national narrative, in my eyes, is the appropriate narrative, and it's a good narrative to jump behind if you're the Gamecock fan base, because embrace it, because it only builds things up from here. The fact that, hey, look, you've exceeded expectations. Look where South Carolina is getting talked about now in a positive light because they've got 6 wins and they've got a head coach that everybody is falling in love with. Mike Golick Jr. even said on Twitter after a video of what Beamer in the locker room, like, am I going to become a Gamecock fan now? Because he's a likable dude who took a team that won 2 games last year that doesn't have a load of talent, that doesn't have a healthy quarterback, and here you are. The national narrative is to me the more fitting narrative than should have had 6 wins. Vegas had him at 3.5. I had him at 4. So the national narrative is the narrative.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's not mine. I mean, as you know, I said before the season, I think that they'll go to bowl season. I think they'll win 6 or 7 games, and that's where they are. I mean, it's literally where I thought they would be. Now, you mentioned something interesting, and we got to move on here in just a second because we have a very important guest waiting to pop in with us. But the quarterback situation, we all know you can't win in college football without a good quarterback. And Carolina's had the carousel of carousels this year. With Doty going down, they plug in Zeb Nolan. He gets hurt. They plug back in Luke Doty. He's never healthy. He can't go. Zeb Nolan is no longer really a factor. You go to your third string guy who's kind of turned the corner enough to get him in the game. And he hasn't lit the world on fire, but he's made some nice plays and he's done a good job. And they've relied on their best players. The guy that Darren, you go back to August. I literally said Zaquandre White might be the best player on this team. Nobody wanted to listen. And here we are in November. Everybody's, damn, this kid's pretty good. Yeah, and we know. He's really good. And as long as he keeps getting the rock, they're going to have a chance to win. Before we get to PD, let me answer a couple of quick questions on the Share Healthcare chat lines. As low as $149 a month for your healthcare. ShareHealthcare.com. Bobby, if an OC move is made, any chance USC could get Mullen? I'd put that at 0 to none. Bobby, I'll be honest with you. I literally, I'm being kind of facetious, but I'm also being serious. I think he either ends up at the Nick Saban coaching school of rehab or he ends up in the NFL. I don't see him taking another head gig yet in college football. No, Walter, that's not purple. It looks like it's navy. Blue. There you go. Craig said South Carolina has become irrelevant. Yeah, exactly. They're trying to change that narrative. Craig, I think Beamer has made us relevant lately. Yes, he has. And Jamie, who wins the ACC division in the 3-way tie? Jamie, I'm still shuffling through all that. But I know that there's still a possibility that Clemson can win the division. So we'll just have to kind of see what happens this weekend. If Wake Forest wins, it's over this weekend against Boston College, who Florida State beat. All right, real quick update. 13-8, UConn leads South Carolina with 4:17 to go in the Bad Boy Mowers women's battle for Atlanta's championship down in the Bahamas. Still early, 13-8. The Huskies are up there. Carolina, UConn, number 1 and number 2 in an incredible early season basketball game. How can I help you? Patrick Davis is standing by, but first, one of our partners wants to help. If you own a business, maybe you should hear this. Got our buddy Daniel Owens, owner of iHelp Consulting, iHelpConsulting.com, joining us here during the JB and Goldwater show. He's got an incredible story to tell about a business he recently really helped. Daniel, tell us about it.
That's right. A healthcare facility saved about $50,000 in payment processing fees. $50,000. We take pride in helping people grow their business and improve their lifestyle.
Living out their dreams.
That's right. So ask yourself, how can I help you?
Awesome. You've helped many, and we are going to help you help more. Daniel, thank you. How can I help you? Help yourself by visiting iHelpConsulting.com or call or text Daniel at 843-372-5713. That's 843-372-5713. iHelpConsulting.com.
Put a keg on my coffin inside the state fairgrounds. Serve chicken and biscuits with all the fixings. Gather everyone in around. Have Coach Beamer say some words. Let Darius lead the choir. And then send the boys off to destroy them damned old Clemson Tigers. Cause I've heard all the stories of the great George Rogers. Back in 1980, he made the whole nation holler. And I've seen
my man Patrick Davis. PD, back in December, we talked to, this is Patrick Davis, for anybody that doesn't realize this. Look at our hats, by the way. Great minds think alike. Oh no, we don't have any volume on him. Can you hear him, Darren?
I can't hear him.
I can't hear him either. Let's see if we can pod him up, or maybe that's on his end.
It might be his mic.
Is that your mic, PD? Can you hear us?
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. All right, there you go.
There you go. I had you guys. It's good. We're good.
All right, so look here now. Back in December, Patrick, we talked to Shane, and before we let him go, I said, Shane, do you realize what big honor you now have under your belt? What big musical honor? He goes, nah, dude. What is it? One day, you are going to be featured in the hit song "Big Old Cock" by Patrick Davis. And he was, it was like a reminder. The light came back on. And here we are. Well done, my friend. Can't wait to see you on Friday. What's up?
Oh, man, I'm glad to be here. I'm excited. I mean, like, how can you not be excited about what happened this weekend? It was pretty, I was actually driving back. I was actually in Columbia this weekend, but I had to be back here. And so I drove back on Saturday and I watched it in my car. Very unsafe, but back and watched it. Smoked a cigar at the end of it in my vehicle, and Lauren was laughing at me. My lady was laughing at me, but we won. We did. It was pretty. We never get that call. You know, that I was like, oh, here it goes. We're not getting that, but it was great, man. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was some kind of special. And you know, PD, you grew up in this rivalry from the beautiful, wonderful town of Camden, South Carolina. It's neat to be here in November, and it matters. You know, it matters. Carolina's got a chance to win the game. It matters on both sides.
Man, if we for the first time in for what seems like forever, and but I do have a good feeling about it. I don't think we even need to win the game as long as we have a good showing for Gamecock Nation to feel good about it. We've been taken to the woodshed the past 5 or 6 years pretty much every time. So this will be a positive. And I know you said you thought there was going to be 6 or 7 wins, but for me, I was not so sure about that. I was thinking 4 or 5 would be successful. And honestly, it's crazy how it works because we're probably a couple points in a few games away from being either like 3-7 or something, or either being like 7-3 or whatever. So it's very interesting right now. But I'm very excited about it, and I'm excited that's why I did the Beamer version for Big Old Cock. I was like, you know what? I was like, it's time. He's such a great he's a great ambassador for the university, and I feel like he's going to be here for a while. And I noticed that there's a different feeling around the university and around the fan base with him. So that's a positive after the years of Muschamp. Let's be honest. So.
For those that, by the way, if you're wanting to go to the game this weekend, you better maybe get a ticket now. It's almost sold out, and it will be sold out. How about you? Are you sold out Friday night at the Toys for Tots show?
I don't, not quite yet. I'm keeping it, but with the COVID world that we live in, I keep it a little bit. I keep it smaller. I do tables, and I think I released like 5 more tables yesterday,
okay.
And I think those are kind of going fast. I'm trying to keep it. The Senate does like 1,000 people. That's a normal show, and I'm trying to keep it at about half that capacity, just to make everybody feel a little safer, and also just keep it where there's not much riffraff. I don't want any Clemson people there. I just want only South Carolina. If you guys want to spend your money, your Clemson folk, please come out on. And it's for a great cause. Toys for Tots. Yeah. We do. Last year the Marines come out, and last year we put all the toys that everybody brings on the stage, and it's just pretty awesome. We have bicycles up there. We have giant stuffed animals, footballs and baseballs and basketballs and all that kind of stuff. It's a beautiful. It actually is one of my favorite nights of the year, and I've loved seeing a lot of people come out every year, and they're sending me videos right now of people like walking in, Walmart or wherever with a shopping cart full of toys that they're bringing on Friday night. So you can have some fun and do some good. So
that is so exciting. I literally can't wait. I haven't seen you in a little while, so I'm excited to see you personally, but also listen to the music. So I know that you've got a table for Flint and myself and us, and we're probably going to be somewhere back in the kitchen area or something like that. We'll have to watch it on a monitor.
I'm going to put y'all next to the bar, just next to the bar. I know where y'all need to be. By table, I meant 4 seats at the bar. That was basically what I'm going to do for you guys. I don't want y'all to walk very far to get to your whiskey jam. So.
Well, I was going to ask you if you shove us in a corner somewhere with a bunch of strange dudes like in The Wedding Singer, the mutants at table 9. If we're the mutants at table 9, could you at least just slide us a bottle of blackberry jam?
Yeah, it'll be there. Don't worry. You're gonna have plenty. I'm taking care of you. You take care of me. You wear my dad's hat. I mean, like, come on, we got my dad's hat on right now together. I mean, I'm a little upset about down here on the bottom of the screen. We need to get you one of these.
I don't have one. I mean, I'm more than happy to have that delivered, and I'll wear it.
I'm gonna tell you that it definitely looks like you're wearing orange and purple down there. I'm not gonna. I mean, I don't know. Like, you might want to. I don't know if y'all have breaks in this show, but we might need to make something to put that inside out.
I can go straight orange. It is blue. I mean, so I can either go straight orange or cover some of the orange.
He's dressed like an Auburn fan.
Yeah, Auburn, UVA. Say you're from Virginia. Say you're working on your doctorate at UVA.
There is a loyal listener, viewer, whatever of the show who lives in my neighborhood. And the other day I was going to the gym. I had a UVA shirt because I have a buddy who worked at Virginia. So I'm going to the gym in this orange shirt, and he stops my car and yells at me. I'm like, dude, Virginia, but still.
Yeah.
Or you can say you're Mike Uva. Is it Mike Uva? What is Uva? Was it Uva? Is that
Uva? Yeah.
It's so funny. At first, before I knew Mike, I used to laugh. I used to say, I'd be like, is that like Mike from UVA? I thought he was a Gamecock. Like, I'm confused. Like, and then it's his last name. So very confused.
Yeah.
Oh, son of a bitch. Hold on. You guys still there?
Yeah. We're still here.
I got a phone call. My dog's at the PetSmart. I just got a phone call. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. As long as the dog's okay. Is the dog okay? This is good stuff. Is the dog okay?
Man, my dogs are old. Here's one of them right here. Let's show you. Here you go. Come here, Cardi. Come here. Yeah. Oh, there she goes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She's excited.
Look at that. She had stitches. So she's got this. If you have a dog that needs to get any type of stitches done, and not the cone, this thing, amazing. She's 17. That is a manly dog.
Yeah. That's incredible.
Takes a real man to walk around with that dog.
So was that your dog or Lauren's dog?
That's mine. I've had that dog for 17 years, and I have a Bichon poodle that's the Bichon, but I have a Shih Tzu that's 14. So old dogs, and then Lauren's dog is the actual manly dog. He's a hound.
Oh, that's okay. I knew she had a dog, but I didn't know whose was what. See, that's what I get for stereotyping.
Exciting news for all you guys out there in JB and Goldwater land.
Yeah. Well, look, according to my family, still nobody listens to this show except for my family, so no big deal. They
Tell
me
your
that
family I said, hey, then.
as often as they can. Yeah, I know. So for those that do want tickets, they can go to patrickdavismusic.com. Try to scoop up a couple of available ones. Who's coming this week? Give me some notables. Is Brewer coming? Who else is coming?
I mean, Brewer, the invite is out to all of my Gamecock, like Courier, of course. I'm going to get him up there and we'll sing Let Her Cry or something. He'll pretend to be Darius for a few minutes. And then we'll do, I have Lauren, my girl Lauren Jenkins, my fiance, is going to get up and sing some. My old man, my little sister Megan will be there. Charlton. It's the Midnight Choir, so it's my big Midnight Choir. And there's, I don't know, I usually invite as many Gamecocks out as I can. So, I'll ask if Sterling's in town and, and Brewer and then there ends up being like Garcia, if he wants to come out and drink for free, which I'm sure he does. So, like that kind of thing.
When does he turn that down?
Yeah. Yeah. And how's Tannehill doing? Have y'all heard from Tannehill?
I haven't. No, I haven't. I was going to ask you the same question. I know he was on with somebody the other day, so I think he's doing better, but.
Yeah, we texted when after the the accident or whatever, and he seemed to be in good spirits. But I'll check on him this week, and I'm just excited to come home and I did the Big Old Cock Beamer version. I released the lyric video for that on Saturday, and the actual song will be on Spotify and everything on Friday. And it sounds like if Eric Nichols, the Gamecock land, it sounds like we're finally going to have that. I think we've passed the threshold of there used to be this big issue with the word cock. Big old cock, and they would be like, we can't play it. They play it early in the game, in the stadium, like way before, 2 hours before anybody was there. But it sounds like we might be getting it in the game now. So that's going to be big. I feel like we've passed that threshold. I mean, come on, for God's sake, what's that? I mean, some of the songs on the radio are 1,000 times worse than our little fun song about the Gamecocks, So, so hopefully that's going to happen this week, and if that happens, that'll be awesome. They show that lyric video we have it. It's called the cockpit, for God's sake. Now the student section is called the cockpit. There's no way they could be mad at me anymore.
Do you think that this generation of kids in Columbia now do they relate to you? Do they?
Oh, they relate to that song. That's for damn sure.
I know.
Yeah.
Are they jamming it? Like, do you?
I have a lot of the kids that are coming out. For me, the thing for me is I don't necessarily. I hope that I don't really relate to them very, very much. In terms of other than being from South Carolina. I'm the old guy for those guys. But I do like the young kids that are out there. There's enough young kids that are performing that kind of reach out to me in the Columbia area now because they're trying to be songwriters or everything. So I feel like. They need some, they want the old guy to tell them what not to do. So
what about what's his name? Coach Holbrook's son's friend from
Blake.
He's
from Blake. Yep.
He's from Hammond. He went to Hammond.
Yeah, he went to Hammond. Blake. He's a freshman at South Carolina. I actually bring him out. He's Blake Weinbach. He's a little guitar player, singer, songwriter, and he's doing pretty well. I have him actually. He works on my staff now when I'm in Columbia. I make him come sing, sell merchandise. So he's now my Patrick Davis merch man whenever I play in Columbia. It's good. Really? He's like my little assistant.
So what about Haney? Is he coming this week? Michael Haney?
Haney will be there. He's gonna be working. I might make him sing a song. You never know.
Yes, sir. I want to hear it. Get his sorry butt up there. I can't. I'd love to. I can't wait to see him. I need to send him a message. But get him up there. Can y'all duet on something like Hold My Hand?
No, I'm not duetting with Haney, but I will. But we're working on something for Langston and Preston for their children's book. Haney came to me and asked me if I would kind of help him write something. They were trying to do something for the kids, and so I think maybe I'll make him sing that. It was a little Gamecock ode for Haney, Michael Haney.
I think he mentioned that to me before. Y'all been working on this a little while.
No, we did it one night, but it was a while ago. But I mean, all I did was sit down and write a song with him. It was fun, and he told me that they wanted to use it for their little for the children's thing. I think they've done what is it called? Used to be a rooster. Used to be.
Well, you're talking about the book.
That's the new one. The new one's called Used to Be a Rooster.
New one, yeah. Okay, yeah.
And that's where I'm going for. I'm going for like the 4 to 5 year olds. I'm trying to really get my age group to go way down. Like it's normally 40, 50, 60 year olds with a few 30 year olds sprinkled in. I want 4 and 5 year olds. It'll help the median. So
if you'd like to see Patrick Davis on Friday night sing "Old MacDonald Had a Farm,"
Yes.
Head
yes.
to patrickdavismusic.com. What are you playing? Are you playing something today? What are you playing?
No, I just had my guitar. I was like, got guitars everywhere. So it's kind of just like this how it works. I got my old dog and my old guitar, So there you go.
That sounds.
First guitar. This is the first guitar I ever had. Anybody know anything about guitars? It's an old Martin.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
you
love
do?
it.
Yeah. You love guitars? Yeah.
I love guitars.
Like it's a Frank Martin. It's an old Frank Martin.
It is. It's looks good. It doesn't yell at you, does it?
Yeah, it cusses like crazy. But it's calmed down in the past few years. It was a little sick last year. It's got some new players and stuff. It's looking a little better.
Well, I tell you what, before we let you run here in a minute, you know that Wes Mitchell guy at Gamecock Central, he gets a little ants in his pantsy when we make him wait too long.
Oh, is Wes today?
Yeah, Wes is at 12:35. I mean, we can back him up a couple minutes if necessary. But why don't you maybe play us the Beamer part of the new song so we can hear it live? Would you do that?
All right, let me see. Make sure I can. It's early here. It's an hour earlier for me, and I'm a musician, so this might as well be 7 in the morning. I just want you to know that. Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say you just woke up.
So it goes. After the verse, if you guys know the song, now we're past the point of it's the third verse. That's where this goes. And if I die, this is how I want my funeral to go down. That's essentially what it is. All Gamecocks would like their funeral to kind of go down like this. So it goes. Put a keg on my coffin inside the state fairgrounds. Serve chicken and biscuits with all the fixings. Gather everyone around. Have Coach Beamer say some words. Let Darius lead the choir. And then send the boys off to destroy them damned old Clemson Tigers. 'Cause I've heard all the stories of the great George Rogers. Now back in 1980, made the whole nation holler. And I've seen that photograph of young Steve Tannehill up in old Death Valley signing his name on the field. Yeah, and I love the year 2001 and Bill Williams rise to rock. Oh, what else can I say? Until my dying day, I'll be a South Carolina Gamecock. You're listening to JB and Goldwater. It's Clemson, Carolina week, boys and girls, and this is Patrick Davis. And I just want you guys to know that is not a Clemson outfit that Mr. Goldwater is wearing right there. He is a big UVA fan. That's right. But anyway, we're gonna win this week, boys and girls, and I hope I see you at my Toys for Tots show on Friday night at the Senate in Columbia, South Carolina. Oh, Jamie's going to be at the bar drinking whiskey jam, blackberry whiskey with a bunch of other drunk friends from Stokes.
Yay!
Nice hat. I love this hat thing. It's funny. I just look over it. Yeah.
This is my favorite hat. I literally wear this everywhere. I wear it
We'll
on
get you
here.
we'll get you a new one on. We'll get you another one that you can wear and give one over here too. So
Yeah.
I've got one I can give Darren too. I've got the blue trucker hat, the white trucker hat, the whiskey jam ones. I got a bunch of stuff of yours, so
I know you got the boxers on right now too, which I think that's really good. The big old cock boxers, those are my favorites.
Those are.
I should make those. I should make big old cock boxers. It would be hysterical. It would be funny. At this point, I might do it. Yeah, that'd be hysterical. Remember the cheerleaders back in the day?
I think they
would. I actually do believe, as ridiculous as that is, I think that I actually would probably sell out of them in moments. Actually,
yes.
Yeah.
I would buy. I'd buy that in a hurry. I'd throw all my other ones out and just. That's all.
Walk around. You wouldn't even wear pants anymore. You just walk around those boxers.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. I would. Yeah. Well, you're going to be back on with us on Friday.
Oh shit! Yes, I am.
You'll be back on Friday as part of our big Gamecock preview show. So we're certainly looking forward to getting you back. But you'll be in Columbia when you join us on Friday, probably on the phone. I'm assuming here.
Yes, I will be. I will be in Columbia already for the show, and I will talk to you. And I think that's even earlier. I think is it?
Yeah. Well, I'll call you a few times. Make sure you're up.
Yeah, basically, I think I'm staying at a hotel right by Halls, which means good because even Thanksgiving, I'm actually getting there on Thanksgiving night. I'm just going to go to Halls and do the things that you do at Halls.
Yeah, I know how that works. Me and somebody well just sat at that back bar one night until they told us to leave. right before the season started. So I look forward to maybe doing that again. Well, we'll do that with you on Friday. And then,
Friday the Senate. You guys, and like I said, if you are coming, there's a lot of you guys already coming, which is wonderful. Thank y'all so much. And the Toys for Tots thing is really it's really a special evening. It's a lot of fun, and I literally I sing a lot of songs about growing up in South Carolina and try to make everybody feel like we're a part of something a little bigger than maybe we usually do. And we are going to win on Saturday night.
Well, I sure hope you're right, and I'll say this: more than likely. Everybody knows this, but one of the best songwriters out there. And for people that don't actually listen to all of your music, the Gamecock fans who think that there's only Gamecock stuff, boy, are you missing out. That Six String Dreams, as a matter of fact, is in the CD player in my truck. So I popped that.
You have an early version of that. That won't come out officially till next year. So but that's how much I love you. That's how much I love you.
Yeah, I know. The demo, whatever you sent out with like 6 songs on it last year. Remember that?
Yeah, I know it. I like Aaron Riddle says he needs that hat. Well, Aaron, go to patrickdavismusic.com and you can order my dad's hat. Well, it's my hat, but
yeah,
Davis and Sons. Sons part.
Camden, South Carolina.
That's right, God's country. All right, boys, y'all talk to Wes. Make sure he's not too angry. Just being later, he's so sweet. There he is. Look at him.
He is.
He's so pretty.
Look at that.
He just woke up too. Look at him. He's probably still hungover from Saturday night. He's like, thank God they're going to go on the website. Thank God. No more hate mail. Yeah.
Wes,
but
y'all can say hi to each other. I think we can hear Wes, can't we? Oh, we can't hear Wes.
I don't know why I can't hear Wes.
I don't know.
Hey Wes, you gotta turn your volume on your computer. Yeah.
Is your volume on, Wes?
No,
we can't hear you.
No, we can't
we can see you. We can see you.
I'll talk for him. He said 1 minute. This is Wes. Clark from Gamecock. No, Wes Mitchell from Gamecock Central, and we'd like to thank all you crazy bastards for just dogging all the players and the coaches pretty much every week on the message board. The Inside Forum is a lot of fun. Fighting Gamecock Forum is insane. It's just a bunch of people that are hammer-town drunk, talking about how they should be the coach. It's really great. I watch it from Nashville. I go on Gamecock Central all the time and just look at the message boards and laugh. I'm like, these people are losing their mind.
Yeah. Hey, y'all should have seen the Auburn. Y'all should have seen the Auburn boards on Saturday night. Now those were fun. Those were
really
fun.
What give me an example of something. What happened?
I mean, this is week 10 of the Harsin era, and they are literally they're like building hot boards for who their next coach is going to be with a coach in year 1. So it's everywhere.
Maybe it's Dan Mullen.
Yeah. Well, it shows you where we have gone. Where South Carolina, there was a time if you lost South Carolina, 7-8 years ago, it was like, oh, okay, well, they're better than you. Now they're like, we're fired. Your coach is getting fired.
You're out.
It's a bad omen.
Wes, are you going on Friday night?
I'm hoping to. I got to buy me a Patrick Davis hat to right here though.
That's if you have the hat on, you get free admission.
Nice. Okay.
Hey, well, you can, PD. You can put. I love Wes. You put him at my table and Flint's table.
Wes knows he's good. Wes knows he's good. There's a crew of you boys that they're good. My Gamecock insiders type of situation.
There you go. I appreciate that, man. I was there 2 years ago, and it was a great time. So Big Old Cock is obviously like the most popular song with Gamecock fans, but the Take Me Back to Carolina When I Die is actually to me number 1 on my personal list.
No, well that'll be on the album next year. That's the one that I think I've had to tell people.
That's a hit, man. That is a hit. 100%.
I've had to tell some people they couldn't record it, some country artists, because I'm waiting on Darius to wake the fuck up and record it, basically. I'm like, how do you not record this song, bro? This is ridiculous. Like, this is the best. Like, there's no way that you can't record this song.
And he moved to Nashville. Like, you can go knock on his door now.
He's back and forth. He's back and forth.
What's his deal? Do you need to tell Mark to take his shoes off and go kick him in the rear end?
No, it has to happen in the right time frame. A lot of things, like a lot of things that happen in the music business are kind of like in the coaching carousel or Gamecock stuff. It's like they're putting something in motion that was actually started 3 years ago today. So the problem is trying to make sure that it falls in line with what's going on at the right time. So when he's cutting an album that is that's more in line with what that song is, I think it'll happen. But I'm doing it. It'll be out. I'll do it next year. I've had a lot of people already want to record it. Some really big country artists that I've been like, nah, just because it's a special song. It needs to be a Carolina boy that does it. And not a North Carolina boy, because I've had some North Carolina folks ask him, like, this shit ain't about North Carolina.
Love it.
But anyway, y'all talk about some y'all talk about some football. I'll get out y'all's way.
Hey, as you often say, North Carolina has James Taylor. We have Patrick Davis.
Well, yeah, something like that. They're very
So
very
I added that part. They have James Taylor.
Okay.
We have Patrick Davis.
Yeah, that's right. You have the big old cock. There you go.
And Darius.
And I'm getting those boxers for you. I'm making those boxers. I'm sending you the first pair.
I'm in. Yeah, I'm totally in. Whatever it takes, whatever I got to pay, I'm in. I'll wear them live on the camera.
Yeah, they're gonna sell out. I mean, as soon as you say they're available, they're gone.
Yeah.
That'd be a great Christmas. I wonder if I could get them in time for Christmas. I may ask my merch folks if I can get them in time for Christmas.
Dude, let me know. We will literally promote those. Like, Wes, will you promote them on Gamecock Central?
What am I agreeing to?
Boxers with big old cock on them.
Big old cock boxers.
As long as you're not modeling them, JB, then yes, we will.
No, Jay, he is. No, he is the model. He is the model.
Where the line is drawn.
From the bottom down, though. You don't want to see the top up, just the waistline down. That's it.
Yeah. All right. Bye, you guys.
Hey,
I'm
I'll
out.
see you Friday.
Patrick. Love you, man.
Yeah.
Bye, guys. Love you guys. See y'all Friday.
Oh, God. Thank you, Patrick Davis. Now that we've cost ourselves a bunch of advertising money in that break we just blew off, we'll get Wes Mitchell in here for the next 20 minutes to actually talk about football if you want. I don't know, man. It's Thanksgiving week. There's so much to have fun with. And what's on your mind? Anything besides football?
No, I'm just glad we have a South Carolina Clemson week, huh? Like you kind of miss it not having it last year. And I think people are excited. The fans are excited. This is an actual winnable South Carolina Clemson game. Let's be honest. When on paper was this game last winnable for South Carolina? It's been a while. I know Clemson's a 2-touchdown favorite, or they opened as a 2-touchdown favorite, but just it does feel a little bit different this year, in my opinion.
Did they? I saw it was 11.5 earlier.
It opened at 14 and it quickly dropped.
Oh, wow. Okay. I didn't know it opened at 14.
The original line was 14 on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
We were decorating for Christmas yesterday. I ignored that. Sorry. Well, yeah. We said this earlier. Basically the same thing you just said, dude. It's it's been 7 years, Wes, since this game felt winnable, which means that it truly mattered on both sides going into game week. And even on the Clemson side this week, a month ago, there's a lot of Tiger fans who almost were writing their guys off, and they've won 4 in a row. Their best win just happened. I mean, I think, look, let's just cut to the chase here. I actually think it's going to be a really good football game. I think it's going to be close.
I do as well, and I think it's going to be fun. And I'll be honest, I was a little bit worried maybe a few weeks ago that you'd go into this game and maybe for the first time ever, there might just not be much interest in South Carolina Clemson, even with them not playing last year, because South Carolina was struggling, obviously. Clemson's offense for most of the year has been so bad. I was like, it may look very empty in that stadium. Now, South Carolina goes ahead and gets the 6 wins. They've won 2 out of the last 3, with 2 big home W's in there. I think the fans are back in it. I think the Clemson fans saw their offense finally look somewhat close to what they expected it to all season long this past week. So I think it's going to be fun, y'all. I think Carolina's defense plays better at home.
They do.
I think they feed off the crowd, and even not sort of getting off to a great start like they did against Florida, against Auburn this past week. They hung in there. They didn't let the momentum get away from them, and they gave up 14 points early and then gave up 3 the rest of the way. So I like the Carolina defense at home. And I think that's the key, because we still know Carolina's offense is not going to be dynamic. It's going to have to be a game in the 20s, in my opinion, for Carolina to go win it. But I feel like this defense can probably keep it in there.
I totally agree. It's been different at home, Wes. That's why I picked the Gamecocks on Friday to win the game, because it's just, even when it doesn't go their way, they've figured out a way to get it done consistently at Williams-Brice this year. You know, I'm not gonna take this approach or this conversation from a negative angle. But I look back and it's kind of a shame that we didn't see Zaquandre White for 3 games at one point in time this year. This kid is special. Wes, when you watch him play, in addition to just the fact that he's a talented young man, what do you see on that offense, on that side of the football when he's in the game? What type of impact he brings in addition to what he himself can do?
Yeah, energy is the first thing, but it goes well beyond that. I mean, he runs incredibly hard. He breaks tackles the way you would see a guy who's a good bit bigger than him. He's not the biggest back, but he runs harder and bigger than he physically actually is. I thought the ability, the vision he showed on Saturday, and I think we're actually with increased reps, we're seeing the vision and the feel for the game actually improve this second half of the year, in my opinion. Some of the runs that he bounced outside against Auburn, where, you know, I think there were times when the Carolina O-line didn't necessarily get a push, but they didn't allow Auburn to get a push either. It was kind of a stalemate. And I didn't think Auburn did a great job of like sealing off the edge. And White was just like, hey, I'm gonna bounce this thing out here and get to the outside. And you know, he's so good at that. He's so good at he's gotten more patient as the year has gone on. I mean, I think early in the season, I feel like White was such a high energy guy, so excited to be out there. It was like he was slamming up into the hole, just trying to make something happen. As the season has gone on, I think we've seen him show a little bit of patience in knowing when to slow up and then knowing when to just fire in there. And I think that's been all the difference in the world. He's great in the receiving game as well. You know, I'll be honest, when they signed Z White, I was very, very high on him based on his JUCO highlights. And then when Kevin Harris went down last year, when Marshawn Lloyd went down last year, and everybody said, who's the guy who's going to step in? I was saying, I think Z White's the guy. And then Kevin Harris goes off and rushes for 1,000 yards. And, you know, Z White didn't even play a ton last year. And I was like, maybe I was just wrong on this one. But it's been fun to see him get his opportunity to cut down on some of the issues he was having last year, which we won't even jinx him by mentioning them. And just, I've thought all year long, as we've seen him play more and more guys, that he looks like one of those guys who maybe even has a better NFL career than he does a college career, like finds the right place and the right blocking scheme and just ends up being in the league for 5 years. Well, I am happy for him that we are finally starting to see him get those opportunities and it pay off. And he's up, I think, close to maybe 600 yards rushing this year now. So it's been a little bit of a trek to get there, but now he's seeing it all come together.
Somebody needs to get a hold of. I guess Fink doesn't do it, but he could find someone in that department over there, that athletics department, and find one more yard, because he got 99 rushing yards this weekend. We got to get him to 100. Somebody's got to get a long half here and a long half there and get him there. Wes Mitchell, Gamecock Central. I was talking to a source this morning in the program who I rewatched. I mean, I was there, I rewatched the game, and I guess I'll have to go back and watch it again to make sure that I saw what I saw. And according to this, I did, or I was close. They only ran about 8 plays in the game, 8 different plays in this game. South Carolina. Shane even publicly said we had 2 running plays, ran the whole second half. So you talk about simplify. Holy smokes, that's called simplification. Why'd it work?
You know, I think when you simplify, then you get back to basics. You get back to you focus on details. And I think we've all said all year long, maybe they've tried to do too much on offense. Now that, let's be honest, if you just simplify that far and you don't have success, people are saying, what are you doing? You got to do more You got to give the team more to look at. You got to give them more looks. You got to give them more just things to sort of keep them off balance. But when you're having some success and you're moving the football, and it still wasn't an offensive explosion by any means, but when you're able to run the football, that changes the dynamic of everything. And, from what Beamer said, they were running that duo play, which is kind of it's almost a mix between what you think of it looks like inside zone from the naked eye. And if you go back and look at it, it's kind of a mix between an inside zone and a power play, because it looks like zone, but there are built-in double teams in it. So they're running that duo play and they're running counter. And for whatever reason, against Auburn's front with these two backs, Z White and Kevin Harris, those guys are just able to make stuff happen. And again, even when Carolina's line wasn't getting a push, I felt like they did a pretty good job of just stalemating Auburn and letting those backs go make something happen. Because how many times this year have we just seen negative plays from South Carolina, like tackles for loss? You'll take a stalemate all day long compared to a loss of 2, a loss of 3. So I thought the line played pretty well. I thought overall it was something to build on. And that's a pretty good Auburn defense, actually, that they were doing it against. And but Z White, and then just sort of that duo with him and Kevin Harris, and you keeping a guy like Harris sort of fresh, and then putting him in there and letting him in spurts just bang in there and use his physicality. All that stuff is very impressive, I think.
And now it's Clemson. Auburn is in the rearview mirror, Wes, and it's the Tigers. And you look at this winning streak. They've, first of all, won 6 of 7. Their only loss was on the road at Pittsburgh, but since then they've won 4 straight. They scored 30, they scored 30, they scored 44, and they scored 48. If you want to pick at it a little bit, if you're a Gamecock fan or somebody else, neither FSU, Louisville, UConn, or Wake Forest are very good on defense. I'd say there's some respectability from those first couple of opponents, much more so than UConn and even 10th ranked Wake. They've had problems all year long. They can't stop anybody. They've just been able to score a bunch. So of those 4, I think it's safe to say that this defense that Clemson will see on Saturday night in South Carolina is better than all 4 of them. But the Tigers deserve a lot of credit, dude. They've been getting better and better and better without all these players they haven't been able to go with because of transfer, injury, whatever it is. And so they feel pretty good about themselves at the right time of the year. You're going to be looking at the matchup all week. Gamecock Central, I know y'all are going to be flooding us with information between these two programs. But as you peek at it here early on, what do you see on Saturday night from the Gamecocks and the Tigers and how they match up?
Yeah, certainly if from a South Carolina perspective, you'd have felt pretty good if Clemson was still just kind of limping in here from just a production standpoint. I think that was a big win for them on Saturday, get some confidence going. I haven't had a chance to sit down and go back over that game, but sounds like they had their best offensive game of the year by far. So, they'll come in with a little bit of confidence, I think. And, I think it's going to be a test for South Carolina's defense. You certainly can't expect Carolina's defense to just shut them down. Again, I think somewhere in the 20s, can you sort of just find a way to keep it in there and score in the 20s and go win a fourth quarter game, I think is kind of the blueprint for South Carolina. Keep this crowd in the game. I think the biggest concern from a Carolina standpoint, though, goes back to that Clemson defensive front for me, and the fact that they'll just add on and add on and add on as far as sending pressure. And, I think you have to find a way to keep them from getting your tendencies, which is something they're good at, and just overwhelming you up front. And, we've seen South Carolina. It has been a little bit more on the road than it has been at home, but we've seen South Carolina at times against really good fronts just get completely overwhelmed and not be able to move the football. I think against Clemson, even if you don't score on a drive, you have to just avoid those 3 and outs. That's what has killed Carolina in the games that they've gotten dominated. It's not just that you're not scoring. It's if you're 3 and out and then putting your defense right back on the field. That's what happened against Texas A&M. That's what happened at times against Tennessee. It can't happen this week, or the crowd will quickly be taken out of this game.
The over-under is 43, which is probably about where it should be, because I think both of them are going to have some difficulty. Yeah, I totally agree with you, Wes. I think that's the biggest concern if you are a South Carolina fan. There's so much on tape that when you just kind of lock and load and whatever you want to call it, a bull rush or however you want to do it, that's seemingly give the Gamecocks a lot of problems. They did have some answers the other night for a couple of those with Auburn. Auburn's best sack guys are their defensive ends, and Carolina, for the most part, did a fairly nice job here. What has beaten Clemson this year? They have 3 losses, or is it teams that run it really well? What have you seen there?
I probably can't answer that question as well as some people at this point, but I'll say this: when I have watched them, it was just to me that their offense has not executed. Now, I got to go back over the game Saturday. They obviously had 500 plus yards of offense, 48 points. So they were doing something right this past week. But most of the games I saw, it was missing throws that I'm used to watching Clemson's quarterbacks hit just over and over and over again. And just not having those big plays out of the running game that I'm used to seeing Clemson have. And, I guess Shipley had a good game on Saturday, and obviously is a very talented kid and one that, came in with very high expectations, had been dealing with the injury for a good portion of the year. So that certainly helped them. But to me, that's the thing. They just, the Clemson team prior to this year's team, offensively, they just overwhelm you, man. It's just like big play after big play, and they can strike so fast. I don't get that sense from this one. So I think at times the last few years, they just would overwhelm teams in the first half, and the game is over before it even really gets rolling. This year's team, even the games they've won, they've had to grind out games. They've had to win fourth quarter games. They've been beatable in a ton of games that they actually ended up winning. So I think that kind of speaks well for South Carolina. They're not going to be overwhelmed. They're not going to be they're not going to worry about the fact that they're underdogs, because South Carolina's been double-digit underdogs multiple times this year. They actually, the Auburn game opened up as Auburn as a 10-point favorite. Now it dropped when Nix was rolled out, but they've been an underdog in that game, big underdog to Florida. I don't think they even care about that stuff.
But you're right about the Clemson struggles. I mean, defensively, they've been relatively consistent, even when they've complained about the defense. It's been the offensive inconsistencies and missing throws, like you talked about. There's 4 or 5 games where DJ's below 500. Turnovers have been a factor. He can't move. That's another factor. But yeah, the rushing game seems to be getting back on track.
Oh, they ran for 336 yards or something against Wake on Saturday. I don't care if your defense isn't that good or not. That's 330 yards
impressive.
on the ground is impressive. Yeah, I mean, they ran right over them. Wes, final 2 minutes here, and then we'll let you run. It's kind of premature to have the conversation because the season isn't over, but it's college football. We have every conversation prematurely. How about the job Shane Beamer's done? They're in a bowl.
Yeah, they are, man. And I think that was going to be the key, was to get to it to me before this Clemson game rolls along. Now you can go in. There's not really anything to lose. Again, you're an underdog. It takes a little bit of pressure off this game. Now, it's the most South Carolina thing ever to beat Florida, then lose to Missouri, but then beat Auburn. But I don't know, man. They would never, ever, ever admit it, but that had to feel good to beat Auburn in Williams-Brice Stadium, knowing that, Mike Bobo was going to be your offensive coordinator. Then he leaves essentially because, yes, Auburn was paying more money, but essentially because it was viewed as a better opportunity than what you had at South Carolina. So he leaves. Tracy Rocker leaves to go there. Now he's not at Auburn anymore. But even, Derek Mason, South Carolina was involved with Derek Mason as well, and he ends up being Auburn's defense coordinator. That thing had to feel really, really good when Beamer got home, sat down, actually took it all in, So congrats to him, man. I know they've had to battle through some stuff this year. So it had to be very rewarding, and very rewarding for those kids to find a way to get to that. And just you get an extra few weeks with your teammates, man. That's that they may not even realize how important that is right now in their lives because they're still young and stuff. But I think looking back, they're going to value the fact that they got another few weeks with their teammates, because you will never – guys will be back, but you will never be with that same team again, because new kids will come in. Some guys will graduate. Some guys will transfer. So you're never in the same locker room again with the same exact guys.
Yeah, there's no question. And Will Friend, he stopped by, had a cup of coffee, and then took off for the Plains.
I forgot about him. He never even made it to Columbia, I don't think.
No, and look, from what I understand, there's that locker room, they were very well aware of all of that. And
how about the Jabari Ellis tweet?
Yeah. I like we talked about it last week. I think there were some people who didn't want to admit it. They didn't want it to be a storyline, but news for all of them. It was a storyline internally. They knew it, and the players, Wes, you just said it. Carolina could have come up with a little extra money for Mike Bobo. That wasn't going to be an issue. He thought they had better players, and that was a better position for him. And so have fun on the Plains. From what I understand, Brian Harsin might be out of the job on December the 8th anyways if he doesn't get vaccinated, or if he isn't already. So,
well, how bad? I know y'all got to go, man. How bad was that 4th and 1 call by Auburn? I mean,
God. You can fumble the football forward and get a first down there. I don't know what he was doing. Yeah, that was.
Hey, look out for, if I'm Tank Bigsby, I'm in the portal, man. The Auburn boards are already chirping about that possibility.
You were at the game, right?
Floated.
Yeah,
There's one more rumor that was floated. I heard this. Well, it's a competing thing, so I'm not going to mention where I heard it from. Not at least with you on right now, Wes. But Harsin to Washington. It was Josh Pate. So Harsin to Washington, in his words, is a rumor worth at least paying attention to.
Got to be vaccinated though.
But wasn't the Washington State coach fired for the very reason that Harsin?
Yeah, and I don't know. I don't want to be sued here. I don't know if he is or isn't vaccinated. He hasn't released his status.
He hasn't said publicly, right?
Right.
So, we'll see. But yeah, well, the reason, and I know we got to go, but the reason I asked to make sure you were there, have you gone back to rewatch the game yet?
Yeah, I have.
You remember the part they showed Bigsby on the sideline?
Yeah, he wasn't even in the game for that play.
Nope.
Yeah, no. And he was not happy.
I honestly assumed he was in the game. I didn't realize that wasn't him at tailback when I saw it live. And then when I rewatched it, I was like, he's not even in the game.
Yeah. My cousin pointed that out to me right before they snapped the football. He goes, that guy isn't big enough to be Tank Bigsby. I was like, what? And then they ran the play, and then I saw the dude running off to the sideline. And
they threw the ball down the field.
I don't know what they were doing. But Bigsby was not happy. I mean, on TV, he was not happy. You could read his lips. He was like, it just ain't fair, man.
Hard to blame him. I know it's a team game, but good. I mean, whew.
Yeah, that was.
He was getting chunk yardage before that too. Is the thing.
Yep.
It changed the game. I'm convinced 100% changed the game.
That's one of those. That's why people do criticize Mike Bobo. He's great, and then you have that scratch your head moment, and nobody can figure it out. And even we on this side as winners this weekend, scratching our heads.
Well, and I wonder how much that was a Bobo call, how much of that was a Harsin, because I was bagging on that call at halftime, and a high school coach buddy of mine was like, that may have been a head coach thing, to be completely fair, which it could have been, because 4th down, certainly to go for it is the head coach. Now, is the head coach saying, hey, let's go PI, hey, let's run? I don't know. Harsin didn't look happy after the call either, but
he doesn't ever look happy.
He shouldn't be happy after that call. But I'd have been pretty upset after that call too.
I feel like to me, the head coach, that's somewhat on him too. Like if either A, he's saying, hey, let's go PI, or B, if he hears or not PI, let's go play action. If he hears, hey, we're going play action and throwing the ball down the field, it's on him to be like, no, we are not. Like, what do you
just get the first down?
Just call a timeout, get 4 on the field, and let's hand him the ball.
Same conversation we had with the Tennessee goal line situation, Satterfield Beamer. Exactly the same thing.
Yeah, Shane could have said, but he didn't. Oh, whatever. They're 6-5 now. We're not bringing that back up. Wes, have a wonderful week. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family.
Man, I might see you on Friday, huh?
I'll see you Friday. Yeah, if you're going, we'll be there. I gotta figure out who's driving, me or Flint. I'll drive. But I'll call you. I'll call you on the way up. But most importantly, to you and everybody at Gamecock Central, your family, everybody, happy Thanksgiving, man. Thank you for all your hard work. You do a great job.
Same to you, man. Appreciate y'all. I'll see you Friday, okay?
There you go. Wes Mitchell, Gamecock Central. All right, Perry, I'm sorry. We're going to hit a timeout. Now, we have to take this timeout. When we return, Perry Orth will pop in. Gene Sapakoff. It never ends. Hang tight. The JB and Goldwater show driven by Stokes Volkswagen. We'll be right back. Right here in our backyard is Motley Rice LLC, a law firm that hasn't lost its Carolina roots. The Motley Rice team fights every day for South Carolinians who were injured while traveling by plane or bus, harmed by medical drugs and devices, or burdened by dangerous auto recalls, including Takata airbags. Motley Rice is headquartered in Mount Pleasant at 28 Bridgeside Boulevard. We are honored to have Motley Rice as a sponsor for the JB and Goldwater show and the Big Gamecock Preview show.
At Patriots Point Naval and Maritime Museum, families walk in the footsteps of our nation's heroes, the brave ones who risk their lives to defend our way of life. Home to the aircraft carrier USS Yorktown, USS Laffey, and the USS Clamagore, there's more than 1 million square feet of exhibit space to roam. White Glove certified, we have several new health safety measures in place to enhance the visitor experience. Come for the day and leave feeling inspired. One of the most impressive museums in the country, located right here in Mount Pleasant. Visit patriotspoint.org for more. We'll see you soon.
People don't like to get stuck in traffic, stuck in the mud, stuck at work, and to others you probably don't think much about, stuck with a big medical bill or stuck with a healthcare program that doesn't fit who you are. Experience true medical freedom with Share Healthcare. More affordable, more options, user-friendly, and biblically sound. You can join right now. Explore a new way to show you care with Share Healthcare. Join us today at sharehealthcare.com. sharehealthcare.com.
This is Scott Glaze, head golf professional at the Links at Stono Ferry, located on the outskirts of Charleston, South Carolina. I'm inviting you to tee it up on one of the most scenic and challenging courses in the Lowcountry. Our back nine is highlighted with 3 holes that border the Intercoastal Waterway. Visit stonoferrygolf.com to book tee times and discover all that Stono Ferry has to offer. The Links at Stono Ferry is a former South Carolina Golf Course of the Year and is also home to the College of Charleston men's and women's golf team. Come see us. We would love to have you. stonoferrygolf.com.
Family vacations, a new car, a new boat, all cost money, but you don't necessarily have to make more to afford any of that if you can save cash that's flying out the window now. iHelp Consulting can help you finally get the kids to Disney World, upgrade the minivan, or drop that new boat in the water next summer. Let Daniel and iHelp Consulting consult with you. No fees, just savings. You pay them a percentage of those savings. Save on essential services, credit card fees, you name it. Let them find it. These folks are incredible. iHelpConsulting.com. How can I help you?
Hi, I'm Rebecca Roberts, owner of 3 Seeds Wellness Studios. And just like being in your favorite ballpark feels like home, our studio feels like home to our clients. We offer over 20 different services to help our guests cultivate, nourish, and grow their bodies and minds. Centrally located in the heart of West Ashley, we offer massages, facials, acupuncture, yoga classes, and everything in between, helping you become that you want to be. A complete list of services are available online, and gift cards are available both online and for curbside pickup. Go to 3seedswellnessstudios.com. Happy holidays.
Hi, I'm Chris Half, Public Information Officer at the Patriots Point Naval and Maritime Museum. We're home of the mighty USS Yorktown, USS Laffey, Clamagore, and Vietnam experience. And we're a proud partner of the JB and Goldwater show. We invite you and your family to come see us and enjoy a day on Charleston Harbor. Visit patriotspoint.org for more information. And now, it is my honor to present the national anthem.
live, loud, and online.
All right, final less than an hour, 50 minutes or so. The JB and Goldwater show, very proudly presented by Motley Rice, causes not just cases. MotleyRice.com. The Share Healthcare chat lines are open. ShareHealthcare.com for affordable healthcare, user-friendly, more options. ShareHealthcare.com. Thanks to Patrick Davis and Wes Mitchell for joining us in hour number one. Real quick before we pop Perry in here, the Gamecocks are on a roll in the Bahamas. They have taken the lead 46-42 over UConn with 6.5 minutes to go in the third quarter. But the momentum they gained towards the end of the first half has continued, and they don't have, UConn doesn't, much of an answer for Aaliyah Boston or Zia Cook. They have been rolling for the Gamecock ladies in this 1-2 matchup down there. So we'll keep you updated on that if you're not paying attention. And another bucket goes down for Carolina now, 48-42. All right, Perry Orth joining us, 1:11 here on a Monday afternoon. Perry knows this week very well. Rivalry week, the Palmetto Bowl coming up on Saturday between Clemson and South Carolina. What's up, brother?
Hey man, how you doing?
Good. It's
yeah, what a win! What a win Saturday, huh? Let's not skip ahead too quick. We got to celebrate our victories too.
Absolutely, celebrate it. Tell us about it. What'd you see?
I saw a team that was scrappy. I saw a team that didn't quit. I saw a team that was better coached than Auburn. I see a team that's better than they were 4 weeks ago, and I tell you, we made their quarterback very uncomfortable on defense. We really shut the passing game down quickly after the first couple possessions of the game. Hank Bigsby is one of the best running backs in the country, and you just got to somehow contain him a little bit. He had some big plays, but for the most part, I mean, they weren't 80-yard touchdown runs. So they got in the red zone, they struggled, missed a field goal, which hurt them. And say we were timely on offense, scored when we needed to, and when we got in plus field position, we were able to score touchdowns, and that was ultimately the decision maker of the ball game. And never ever want to just breeze over a win, especially against Auburn, who we have historically not beat. Great win for Coach Beamer, bowl eligible. Hats off to the coaches and the players. What a great win.
Yeah, there's no question, Perry. We'll start there with Coach Beamer. This is a guy who, seemingly there was a bunch of pressure on him, but that was outside noise that had kind of manufactured itself. But he never, all year long, he kind of stuck to his shtick. We're going to be positive around here. We're going to change this environment. We're going to do what we do. We're going to focus on us, and they're bowling. And it hadn't been pretty at times, Perry. We talk about this every week, and they've had some rough moments, but they've won 6 games and they got a chance to win 7. I mean, there's so much to be said for somebody creating a game plan before the season starts and sticking to it, and he's done exactly that. He's had to go up and down the mountains. He's had to hike some mountains, but at the end of the day, they've gotten over the hump.
Yeah, they have. And, it goes back to, we talked about a couple weeks ago, and I think last week too, is the one of their core values as a program is positive energy. And when all the crap and the social media mess goes on around them and people are telling you that it was a bad hire and this is a bad coach and he's a bad player and blah, 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 they just continue to work. They continue to do what they need to do to win, and they've already almost doubled the win total for what was expected for them preseason from a lot of folks. And they're playing good football, and they are now playing and peaking at the right time to say, you know what, Carolina's got a very, very good shot to beat Clemson, and we haven't been able to say that in a long time. And I'm not saying that's going to happen. I think it will, but it does feel good, and it's great to see the guys having fun.
All right, so as a former quarterback, Perry, walk us through. The season is not over, but we're through 11 games, and we've seen it, right? Luke goes down, and then they pull this GA tag off of Zeb Nolan, and Zeb Nolan gets in there and he kind of gets you through a couple of ball games, and then he gets banged up, and then here comes Luke, and Luke's never fully healthy, and then he goes out again, and then Zeb has to come in and win the Vandy game for you. And I think a lot of people at that point in time thought, oh my gosh, Gamecocks only beat Vanderbilt by 1 point. This is yikes. And then they get throttled by A&M, and then they got to make a change to Jason Brown, a guy who had struggled since he'd been on campus at South Carolina for a multitude of reasons. We don't have enough time to get into all those, but he wasn't ready for a while. And then it was time to plug him in, and he's still in there. But they've had 3 quarterbacks this year in 11 games, and that's just a lot of inconsistency. What's that like when you're trying to get your team ready week in and week out as the season progresses? You don't know who your starter is going to be. You're not able to get used to one guy. That quarterback can't build rapport, all those type things. Kind of summarize that, because you used to be in those shoes.
Yeah, it's been a whirlwind, but I tell you, the kids are mature. They work hard. They seem to be just really, really good kids, to where they've all supported each other. They've all done what the coaches have asked. I hate that Luke got hurt the way he did, but opened up to what was a great story in Zeb, and ultimately gave Jason a chance to play when Zeb went down. And Jason's played great football. I think he was 10 of 15, something like that. So they didn't put the entire game on his back. He made some great plays, was accurate with the football. People don't realize how difficult his touchdown throw to Josh Van is when you're sprinting to completely straight to the sideline, throwing across your body to the left, and he threw a frozen rope. What a great play. What a great way for him to solidify and continue to solidify him as our quarterback for the rest of the season. And just watching those guys interact, there's no jealousy, there's no viciousness. They're all great teammates. They all support each other. And, it's everything that you'd want in a program year one that was projected to win 3 games to do. And a few games slipped through, obviously. You look at Missouri and Kentucky, and you flip a couple of those games and you look and how easily we could be 8-3 heading into this ball game. Just how it goes during the course of the football season. So couple performances we weren't there, but the quarterbacks and Jason Brown has helped push this team to a bowl, and hats off to those guys.
50-46, under 4.5 minutes to go in the third quarter. Carolina leads UConn in that 1-2 matchup down in the Bahamas. Keep you updated there. Perry, it's you're right. I went back and rewatched the game too, and seeing it in the ballpark, seeing it on TV, the angles of that throw, it's incredible. Pretty good play call too. There's a couple of them. That leads me to this. Clemson right now, I think Tiger fans would probably agree with this statement. They're playing their best football at the right time of the year, and this is when you want to do it. And Clemson, outside of going to the playoffs, still has, at this point in time, pretty much all their goals still on the table. I mean, they can still win the division. They can still win the ACC. They can still win the state championship. They can still win bowl games and all that type of stuff. But, Perry, the flip side of that is I think Carolina can argue that they're playing their best football at the right time of the year. Yeah, they didn't play well up in Missouri, but the last two times they've been at home, those have been their best games, Florida and Auburn, and right here in November. So what does that tell you about how this game might unfold this weekend? 2 teams playing their best at the right time.
Yeah, no doubt. And then you play at Williams-Brice at home, and we play better at home, and there's that extra confidence having beat Florida and Auburn. And, Clemson's not the Clemson of old, but Clemson is playing their best football right now. Our struggle is going to be to score points. Their defense is one of the best in the country. But where I expect us to be in the game is our defensive line is much better than their offensive line, unless something changes Saturday. But this whole season, we've proven to be able to get pressure on the quarterback and slow running games down. Clemson doesn't do either of those. They're not the Clemson of old. We're not seeing Deshaun Watson or Trevor Lawrence trot out for the Tigers on Saturday night. loaded at plethora of talent at receiver like they have been in running back. I mean, they've got good players, but I mean, these are not future NFL stars out there. So I think we match up with them well. Defensively, offensively, we're going to have to get creative to score points because they are still very good, very well coached.
Yeah.
We got to find a way to manufacture some trick plays. Huge key to the game is special teams. Our special teams was fantastic the other night. Golly, our punter continued to pin those guys back, and that's going to be a big deal. I think this is going to be a lower scoring game, and in those ball games, special teams is huge.
UConn is retaking the lead here, 52-50. Yeah, Perry. It's there's both of these teams have just had so many ups and downs and things of that nature. The one thing I know Carolina fans don't like me saying this because they know where my allegiance lies, but the one thing that you have to say, or at least I'll say it, I have so much respect for the consistency that this Clemson football program has put out there over the last 7 or 8 years. I mean, we can all say the things we want to. It's a rivalry, and that's how it goes. But Dabo Swinney consistently finds a way to get his team in the conversation at the top of the sport. And this year they were all but written off, and all of a sudden here they are. They still have only lost 3 games. And they haven't lost 5 games. They've lost 3. So they are really, really good. How would you measure this type of win? Number one, it's Clemson. So you can kind of throw the rest of it out. But if Carolina were able to win the game, how do you kind of summarize that in your head as what type of team they beat?
Well, yeah, I think that, Clemson's a national program. I mean, they're not this isn't the Clemson of 15 years ago. These guys are known as being the last 5-6 years of the Alabamas of the ACC, and finding a way to beat those guys, one, for the rivalry in general, because it just hadn't been close over the last few years, but finding a way to knock those guys off and really put a spoiler on their season, leave them with a bad taste in their mouth, regardless if they play in the ACC title, which I don't expect them to. Be great for recruiting. I mean, golly, the recruiting side of it would be almost equally as big as just winning the game. Just be able to say, like, hey, you're going to come in the SEC and you're going to play great teams week in, week out. We may not have been 8-4, we may have finished 7-5, but we're still, look where we're at in year one. We're already beating Clemson, whereas 2 years ago we couldn't even compete with them. And it'd be great for our fans. I'm not ever one to cater to fan bases, but it would be. It's been a tough 6 years, and just like it was tough for the Clemson the previous 5. So it would be great to kind of start a new streak of our own. And again, I think we've got all the pieces there to do it.
What's it like, Perry, running out of that tunnel at Williams-Brice Stadium? You did it twice in your career, 13-15. With Clemson in the ballpark. What's it like running out to 2001?
Yeah, it's the best, man. It was it was just an incredible day, incredible environment. Both times we played them. We won in 2013, lost in a close one in 2015. And it's just great competing. I mean, there are guys that you're competing with that you saw growing up, going to high school camps with and showcase camps, and a lot of the kids, both schools were recruiting them at one point, so they have relationships with the other players and the other coaches. And there's a lot that goes in the back of your mind. You kind of sit there and think, like, wow, this really is a big deal to people in this state. And not that you want to let them down, because it's not about that, but it's about going out there and playing hard for the name on your chest, and making sure that you leave everything out on the field, because, these are games where you can be, school legends based off the performance in these ball games. And, you may have had an average career, but people will always remember the year you beat Clemson. So it's the way the rivalry's gone. And man, I'd love that for these guys to find a way to knock them off.
I mean, you're from Florida, Perry. You grew up around the Florida State, Miami. There's some of the best rivalries in the sport in the Sunshine State. But being from the Southeast, obviously some of the best rivalries in the sport are around here as well. I mean, college football is so great because the Civil War is neat, and Ohio State and Michigan. I mean, they're all over the place. But you played in this rivalry, so you grew up in a state with some of the best rivalries in the game. You've seen the rest of them around the country. You played in this one. Where do you rank it?
I mean, now it's definitely top 5, maybe top 3. I mean, I grew up in Florida, and being a part of Florida State, as a fan was intense. But when I got up to college and just saw how much these fan bases don't like each other, it makes for a hell of a ball game. Having played in it, obviously, I'd love to say it's number 1. It's just not. It's not a big state, so it doesn't get the love that Michigan and Ohio State, now Alabama and Auburn get. But it's right there. The game is equally as competitive. The fan bases hate each other equally as much. It just makes for a really just an incredible day. That game still. That rivalry you still remember those even just a little bit more than the other ones, even though when you're playing the game, it is just another game, but you just remember those plays and what happened in that ball game. You just remember it a little bit more than you would if you were playing Tennessee or if you were playing, Missouri. It's just the way it is. And that's what makes it special as a player.
Hang on. Yeah. So when you're playing the game, I mean, because we could sit here and talk about it all week, and it's going all over the country, rivalry week and the hate here, the hate there. But then you just said when you're playing the game as a player, it's just another game. So the players, you're building it up. Players are currently, and then you can flip that switch. I mean, you're not looking across the line and saying, oh, look at that. I'm playing Clemson here today. And that's not constantly reinforced.
No, God, no. After that first snap, it's like, okay, this team's running cover 2. How do we get the ball in the middle of the field kind of thing?
Yeah.
You don't have time. It's kind of like people ask, what was it like playing in front of 80,000 people? I said, it was cool during warm-ups. Then you don't realize they're there during the game. You're worried about that defensive end coming free and knocking your head off, So it's a ton of build-up to instantly turn to, okay, let's just play football.
I think it's perfectly well said. I'll say, that stretch where the Gamecocks won, 5 in a row. Obviously, for Carolina fans, it was amazing because they were winning every game. But Perry, I hope Clemson and South Carolina fans can understand where I'm coming from here. I'm talking about not just in this state, but you mentioned like on a national level, the notoriety on a national level. I think one of the reasons why this rivalry has never maybe bumped itself up the ladder alongside many of the other ones is because generally neither one of these teams are playing for much. It's a rivalry and they don't like each other. But yeah, there might be a couple of years where somebody's in the thick of it for something, but generally both of them don't have a ton on the line to play for except bragging rights and bowl placement. But during that stretch when the Gamecocks were winning all those games, Perry, yeah, it was great for South Carolina because they were beating their rival, but they also were playing for something. Clemson was playing for something. The Tigers were in the thick of it for the ACC championship every year, and you were talking about big time New Year's Day games. Carolina, 1 year during that stretch was going to be playing in the SEC title game, but they all had rankings next to their number. Both Clemson and Carolina did for almost every one of those years, top 10, top 15, whatever. So it kind of shot up the radar a little bit on the national stage, and I think that's where they need to get this thing. Carolina's got to get good again for people to acknowledge it.
Yeah, no, that's South Carolina's got to get back to where they were, and Clemson's just got to, stay where they were. I mean, those 4 of those 5 years, there was a lot on the line for both teams. And my last year, or the last year that we had won, 2013, was, both teams were in the top 10, and there's just a lot to play for. And it's a big time heavyweight top 10 matchup. You're exactly right. That's what makes the rivalry so special. So, Clemson's there, or not this year, but program wise, they're there as a heavyweight national program, and Coach Beamer is doing everything in his power to get us there. And a win Saturday would be a big giant leap towards that goal.
And he's already got you on the map because of the positivity that you're getting nationally for exceeding the expectations. So there's already a little bit more eyeballs that will pay attention, especially if it's a win, because then it's, oh my God, not only did he get to 6 last week, but now he just beat Clemson. I mean, that adds to this and pushes this rivalry back to, I guess, closer to where you guys are just talking about.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right.
Perry, we're going to let you run, buddy. I can tell that you're still a little bit under the weather. I'll be in town Friday, so if you're there and you want to get together, we're all going to Patrick Davis on Friday night, so we're looking forward to that.
Nice.
So I'll catch up with you this week, and we'll try to coordinate. But most importantly, in addition to the fact that it's a wonderful week for football, it is Thanksgiving. And I don't know if you're going to get I know this is your first Thanksgiving as a husband, so that'll be pretty neat. Don't burn the turkey, pal, and save the neck for me, Clark. But I really do wish you and your beautiful bride and your family the happiest of Thanksgivings. You deserve it. You're a great guy, and it's a wonderful week, so enjoy it.
Appreciate it, man, and thanks for having me on as always. And go Gamecocks. We're going to pull it out, man. I feel good about it. Called Auburn, called Florida. Calling this one. Hey,
I called Auburn. I didn't call Florida, but now I feel bad. I owe somebody an apology for that one. So we'll see how it goes this week. Thanks, Perry.
Yep. See ya.
There you go, Perry Orth, my quarterback up there in South Carolina. All right, before we hit our final timeout, Hammond is a state champion again. If you happen to miss that, they won on Friday night, the 3A level of the SCISA playoffs at CSU, 48-15. They dominated Trinity Collegiate. So congratulations to Hammond. Thomas Hayward won the 1A division 35-13 over Robert A. Lee. The 2A division, Hilton Head Christian pounded Williamsburg Academy 34-7. So they're state champions. And the 8 Manners, Holly Hill Academy 28-24 and a tight one over Andrew Jackson. So there you go. We have 4 state champions from the SCISA side of high school football this weekend. And in the South Carolina High School League, again, if you happen to miss all this, here you go. Spartanburg and Gaffney are in the upper state championship game. Spartanburg beat Ridgeview 32-29. And that Gaffney Northwestern game was really good. Gaffney pulled it out over Northwestern and Coach Walford 16-13 in overtime. So congratulations to them. And one of those teams are going to get the winner. One of these Friday night's going to be fun at the Fort. Fort Dorchester will welcome Dutch Fork to town. Dutch Fork beat Sumter, and Fort Dorchester handled Lexington. That's coming up on Friday night at 7:30 in North Charleston. The 4A level, Greenville and South Point are meeting in the upper state championship. Beaufort and West Florence in the lower state championship. On the 3A level, Chester and Daniel have advanced to the upper state championship. Camden and Dillon pounded OCA, Oceanside Collegiate Academy, 35-10. I thought that might be a tough one for them to get up there and win, and it was. Dillon is a tough place to play. But they're going to play that game in Camden this week, the home of where? Or who? Patrick Davis, coming up on Friday night. And then at the 2A level, Gray Collegiate beat Abbeville. They can't win another state championship this year, I don't think, not from home. Gray's going to travel to Newberry in the upper state of the 2A level, and then the lower state boys, Silver Bluff, will go to Barnwell. Whoever advances out of that will meet in state title. And the 1A level, Southside Christian and Lamar in the upstate, C.E. Murray and Bamberg Earhart in the lower state championship game. So congratulations to all those who won on Friday night. We love our Friday night heroes around here, and looking forward to a bunch of lower and upper state championship games coming up this Friday evening, the day after Thanksgiving. All right, final timeout. We're going to hit that when we return. Gene Sapakoff pops in. He's got plenty to say, I guarantee you. Yeah, he's full of stuffing this week, right here on the JB and Goldwater Show, driven by Stokes Volkswagen.
Hopefully, you won't ever need legal help for a catastrophic injury or health issues from a medical drug or device. But if you or a loved one suffers injury or loss, Motley Rice LLC is a nationally recognized law firm that is right here in Mount Pleasant at 28 Ridgeside Boulevard. Thank you, Motley Rice, for sponsoring the JB and Goldwater Show and the Big Gamecock Preview Show. Visit motleyrice.com for more. motleyrice.com.
This is Mike Mazzell for Stokes Volkswagen on Ashley Phosphate Road. You know what happens when you sell record numbers of new vehicles? That's right, we take in record numbers of local trades. Despite what the news is saying, quality pre-owned vehicles really aren't that hard to find. You just need to know where to look. Stokes Volkswagen on Ashley Phosphate and on the web at stokesvw.com. We've got over 1,200 pre-owned cars, trucks, SUVs, and all at a fraction of the price when new. Every vehicle has been inspected and reconditioned, many with the balance of factory warranty. Best of all, at Stokes Volkswagen, you don't need perfect credit to get approved for a quality pre-owned vehicle. And we'll take any trade in any condition, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth. Don't forget, we'll buy your car even if you don't buy a car from us. You're going to love our pre-owned selection, I guarantee it. So come see us today at Stokes Volkswagen on Ashley Phosphate or stokesvw.com.
Peace and love at Stokes VW.
Negative trade equity financed and new loan, subject to lender approval.
Wando Power Equipment, the trusted home of Hustler zero-turn residential and commercial mowers. There is nobody more trusted in South Carolina than our friends from Wando Power Equipment. They've been providing elite commercial and residential service for over 30 years. Landscape Services have turned to their selection of Hustler zero-turn mowers like the Raptor. Bigger, stronger, faster, and the most durable Raptor Hustler has ever designed. Located on Daniel Island and online at wandopower.com. Wando Power Equipment, owned by the Price family, the home of Hustler zero-turn mowers, rentals, service, and specializing in family and friendship.
Family vacations, a new car, a new boat, all cost money, but you don't necessarily have to make more to afford any of that if you can save cash that's flying out the window now. iHelp Consulting can help you finally get the kids to Disney World, upgrade the minivan, or drop that new boat in the water next summer. Let Daniel and iHelp Consulting consult with you. No fees, just savings. You pay them a percentage of those savings. Save on essential services, credit card fees, you name it. Let them find it. These folks are incredible. iHelpConsulting.com. How can I help you?
You hear me talk about Dog and Duck all the time, and there's no other place I'm going to watch my college and NFL than the Dog and Duck. They have 3 locations, Bell Hall, Park West, and Clements Ferry Road. They have specials all football season long, like $12 pitchers of their own D2 brew, $5 pints of Sierra Nevada, weekly pick'em sheets with prizes, and the best wings in town, bar none. For all your football, college, and NFL, the Dog and Duck, Clements Ferry Road, Bell Hall, and Park West.
All right, guys and gals, we all know it's the holiday season and you've opened up your playbook for gift giving. Don't dig too deep because I have the perfect stocking stuffer for your favorite teammate. Gift cards and baskets from 3 Seeds Wellness Studios in West Ashland. Luckily, my wife doesn't listen to our show or she would know what Santa's delivering from the North Pole. Check out 3seedswellnessstudios.com for gift cards and their retail store and have their elves stuff a gift basket full of holiday magic. 3 Seeds Wellness Studios, 3seedswellnessstudios.com to score this holiday season.
Okay, what's going on today, huh? Anything to talk about?
All right, greetings and a good Monday afternoon. Greetings and a good Tuesday afternoon. Greetings and a good Wednesday afternoon, and welcome aboard. All right, greetings and a good Thursday afternoon. Greetings and a good Friday afternoon, and welcome aboard. Well, we're not working on Wednesday and Thursday this week. JB and Goldwater off on Wednesday and Thursday for the Thanksgiving holiday. Back 10 a.m. on Friday, 10 to 12. Quick update from the Bahamas, 61-54. South Carolina leads the Yukon Huskies as they're winding this thing down in the fourth quarter, coming back from a TV timeout here. Keep you updated on that. Other hoops today for state teams, some tough matchups for some of our in-state college hoopsters. Tonight, Georgia Tech will host Charleston Southern. The Citadel's at Duke tonight. That is on the ACC network at 9 o'clock. And remember, the College of Charleston, they're in Stillwater taking on Oklahoma State. And Mike Boynton, the Cowboys, 7 o'clock tip-off out there as well. Coastal Carolina, guess where they are? The Bahamas. They've got Valpo today. So that is your college basketball slate. I'm losing my mind here. St. Bonaventure, if you missed it, won the Shriners Children's Classic here in Charleston over the weekend. All right, Gene, it is Thanksgiving week. It is rivalry week. I bet you've got a lot of stuffing for us, don't you?
Yeah, and a lot of pie too. Pecan, pumpkin, whatever you want. Sour apple. Yeah, I've got it all.
Oh, sour apple, huh? Not just the traditional apple.
Oh, I know. It's got apple crust, so extra thick crust. Got everything down.
Okay.
What do you make a signature meal for Thanksgiving, or a signature dish? I should say.
I'm more of the bake guy, that I'm assigned some pie, desserts, and stuff. But as far as what I like, and this is interesting, I came from Colorado where it was always mashed potatoes with the turkey, and I had to make the adjustment to rice out here. But still kind of like the mashed potatoes, gravy, stuffing, turkey, basic.
We do mashed potatoes.
Yeah,
rice hasn't been introduced to my Southern Thanksgiving meals in the 20 years I've been here.
I find that a foreign object at Thanksgiving. But, guys, I just go back to the quote from the great Will Muschamp, and just, Thanksgiving is a meal and not a day.
Yeah, that was a head scratcher. It's a day for the rest of us. But I'm with you, Coach. Whatever you got to do, you do it. Yeah, hey, I'm a Darren, do you stuff your turkey? You actually stuff it, right?
I believe so. I'm never the one who actually does the turkey. For all the cooking I do, like every single day, that's not something I typically do. And then I don't eat the stuffing. However, it's cooked. I don't.
Oh, really? Oh,
no,
man.
I don't like it.
The stuffing inside the turkey, cooking it with the turkey is the way to go. Sew it up. Woo, man. Stuffing, dressing is the same thing. I used to call it dressing. I call it stuffing now because half the people I talk to don't know what dressing is. All right, Gene. Well, don't have to dress this up a whole lot. It's game time for South Carolina and Clemson, and they're seemingly both playing their best football at the right time of the year. How do you assess this game versus the previous 6?
I assess this, Jamie, as one of the most interesting, intriguing, and strangest South Carolina-Clemson matchups I've seen, and I've been following it pretty closely since like 1986. How about this? South Carolina can lose this game and still have what most fans will consider a very good season. Clemson can win this game and still have what most fans, pundits, and the whole world of college football considers a very disappointing season. I don't remember any game I could say that about before. And yeah, the Clemson Tigers are a double-digit favorite coming into Columbia, but because of what's happened in the last 2 home games at Williams-Brice, you really never know.
You are right. I was not even aware that there was a 14-point spread yesterday, and today I did see it was 11.5, so it's dropped 2.5 points in less than a day. Gene, off of that question, we back up to the weekend, and let's start with the Tigers. I actually thought Wake Forest, because they have a better quarterback, I thought Wake Forest would go in there. Dave Clawson would have them calm, cool, and collected, and I thought they'd win a squeaker, and they got the doors blown off of them. Clemson, it was senior day. They were clicking. They ran the football well. They were excited to be there. It seemed like one of those classic Dabo motivational type weeks, right? Where, hey, nobody trusts you. Nobody thinks you can do it. This is a top 10 team. Let's go prove to everybody that we're still Clemson. And they did. That was their best game of the year.
Yeah, and just got off of a Zoom thing with Tony Elliott today, and the offensive coordinator at Clemson said, Dabo really got on the coaches last week, coaching the coaches and challenging them. And somebody asked him, what was that like? And he laughed and said, I'll leave that to your imagination, what that was like. But yeah, Clemson played. That was the kind of game you would have expected in August, but not a week ago. I thought it was going to be a very tight game, and they made life miserable for Sam Hartman, and they ended up with 7 sacks, and just as importantly, Jamie and Darren allowed 0 sacks.
That is incredibly important for an OL that's been struggling a little bit this year. And, in addition to that, I just saw Gene a little while ago, and I'm going to paraphrase because I can't remember it word for word, but Will Shipley spoke on the running back room and basically said that earlier in the season they had some problems, and now everybody likes each other. Kind of expand on that. Was that just in the running back? I mean, they've lost some players already to the transfer portal, running backs, most notably. Some guys are out with injuries and things of that nature. They've had their fair share of attrition this year, but is that something that was maybe only going on in that room, or is that something that maybe they had some issues with throughout the team? in the program, but they've found a way to quiet that down, at least for now.
I don't know like how personal it got or anything like that, but let's just say that Lynn J. Dixon and Mikey Dukes were veteran players, and they didn't perform very well. Now, the offensive line was in shambles, and there's been injuries, and I think both of those guys could still do well somewhere else. They have left the program, and, you know, freshman Will Shipley, Kobe Pace, who is technically, he's a second-year player, but he has freshman eligibility, and Phil Mappa, a freshman, have kind of taken charge of that running back room and played really well to the tune of 333 yards team rushing against Wake Forest, which is by far Clemson's best performance. And for all the talk about the skill position guys at Clemson and the injuries there, they really, really benefited from getting guard Will Putnam back in the starting lineup and off the injury list against Wake at Death Valley on Saturday.
On Twitter at Sapakoff, Gene Sapakoff, Post and Courier. What is their storyline? If you had to write a headline, how about that, for Clemson this week, coming into the South Carolina game, the Palmetto Bowl? What is the headline for the Tigers?
They appear to have been improving since the Pitt lost and have embraced the adversity finally that has gripped them ever since the seconds after the loss to Georgia in Charlotte on September 4th.
Look, the last four games, 30-30, 44-48, they have put up numbers. Florida State, Louisville, UConn, even Wake Forest, a top 10 team, that struggling defense all year long for the most part. Is this the best defense they have seen, say, since that loss at Pittsburgh?
It's better than the Pittsburgh defense, I would say, and I think it's possibly the best defense they've seen since the Georgia defense, and is particularly the environment that is going to bother the quarterback. And let's just say that current quarterbacks on Clemson's roster have not fared very well on the road. So I think there's a lot of things beside the obvious home field advantage working to South Carolina's advantage, and that includes a really good defensive line. The secondary has been rebuilt, since last year, and obviously the Gamecocks and Tigers didn't play last year, but Clemson hasn't shown that they can pick apart even a weak secondary. So this will be really some interesting chess matches, Tony Elliott going against Clayton White, and then, Brent Venables and Marcus Satterfield. And obviously Jason Brown's going to have to deal with one of the best, if not the best, defensive coordinators in college football. And oh, by the way, he has some pretty good players that he has at his disposal too.
Gamecocks up 11, under 3 minutes left in the game, 68-57, looking good for the number one team in the land to take down the number two team in the land, UConn. Keep you updated there. Gene, you mentioned South Carolina, and they've struggled to put together consecutive games where they've played really well. They haven't won two in a row since the first two of the season against Eastern Illinois and East Carolina. Since then, it's actually been loss, win, loss, win, loss, win, loss, win, which would mean they're due for a loss. But you kind of toss that out. This is Clemson, and they're playing better. This is something you've talked about for a long time with Shane. If he can get him to a bowl game in the first year, he will have done an amazing job. Well, they're there, Gene. So what type of job has he done?
I think he is a candidate for SEC Coach of the Year. I think Josh Heupel and Lane Kiffin are probably going to compete for that. But this guy, the over-under on wins was, I'd say, 4.5. I mean, a lot of people said 4. Some people said 5. I didn't see many people saying 6. And I love Shane Beamer after the games. We're not done. We can win another regular season game. We can win a bowl game. I mean, they could have 8 wins. They could. I'm not saying they will, but even if they lose to Clemson and lose to Western Michigan in some bowl game or something like that, it's been a heck of a season. They get those very valuable extra practices, and they get to tell recruits that we're on the way, just as we've been telling you since Shane Beamer got there in December. There's actual proof. And he's done, he gets, his grade is going to be at least a B plus with possibly better as this goes on. You just can't say it any other way with what he's had to work with.
Gene, I've been saying very similar things. Agree completely. And it's part of the national narrative of how well he's done, outperforming what was expected. Those closer to the program, had higher expectations and don't feel as though he's exceeded the expectations as much as you, me, and some of the other folks. Where's the reality? Where is the blurred line there? What's the truth? Who's closer here? Or is it somewhere in the middle?
Good question. It's somewhere in the middle, but slightly toward Darren Goldwater, Gene Sapakoff astute thinking, I would say. But here is the thing. Gamecock Nation's been kind of beaten down with as far as football goes through the Will Muschamp era here. That's number one. So understandably, the enthusiasm's a smidge curbed right now. But number two, and I will say this, a lot of coaches get bounced in that first year, and then that second year that they take a dip. So Shane Beamer right away is going to be coaching an SEC opener. It's not the first game of the season, but it is the SEC opener against Arkansas, against a Sam Pittman coached program who has made significant progress in his 2 years at Arkansas. And there's going to be a comparison there right away. So it's not just, great, we're going to go to the Birmingham Bowl or something and play whomever. Gamecock Nation, these are some of the smartest fans in college football, and they are going to want more than, a 6-win season and a relatively minor bowl. Again, I'm not diminishing anything that Shane Beamer's accomplished. I just said he was an SEC Coach of the Year candidate, but Gamecock Nation, to explain what Darren's talking about, they're looking at it a little bit more in the long run, just like when you buy an S&P 500 mutual fund or something, you're not looking at what it did just over 3 or 4 months.
Well, if you're buying stock in Carolina women's hoops, you're going to make a lot of money.
You're late to the party if you're just buying it now.
If this week turns out anyway, like this game just turned out, Columbia is going to be a fun place to be for a little while because South Carolina just throttled UConn down the stretch, beat them by 16 points. That's a 1-2 matchup. Carolina, Gene, just beat the Huskies by 16 to win the battle for Atlanta's championship, 73-57. Not to get, we're going to get back into football, but I just, now that the games are, I want to get your comments here because they're 6-0 and they don't just look like number one. They look like far and away number one in the land.
Yeah, and I guess the only criticism there is you hope they're not peaking too soon, and now Gino doesn't have some motivational thing, because this is probably the first of 3 meetings. I know they play one more time in Columbia, and I wouldn't be surprised to see them playing in the Final Four in Minneapolis, St. Paul in April. But maybe UConn's not good enough to get there. I know the Gamecocks will be there.
They'll be there. I would bet on that today. Gene, again, now that it is this week, Clemson and South Carolina, I think an uncomfortable conversation for South Carolina fans are the comparisons to Shane Beamer of Shane Beamer to Dabo Swinney early on in their careers. Like when Dabo first took over at Clemson in 2008, halfway through the season, you'd actually probably need to fast forward that calendar to 2009 when he was finally able to get a team ready himself for a full year. But there's a lot of people, just based on their actions and some of the things they say and how they're kind of trying to change the narrative of the program, there have been those comparisons. And I know Gamecock fans don't want to have those questions because they don't like Dabo Swinney. Let's just put it out there like it is. But, I mean, now that we're almost done and those two with this season and those two are going to meet on the field this week, can you kind of reassess maybe some of those type conversations we had from a few months ago as to where we are now, and maybe if there are some similarities between those two and how they've started their careers?
Yeah, there are some similarities, and that there was criticism right away about both of them, and that neither one of them had even been a coordinator. Young guys, very personable, very energetic, had worked either in some storied places, Dabo at Alabama, Beamer at Georgia, Oklahoma, and under his own father at Virginia Tech, plus, of course, with Steve Spurrier, but just hadn't really been out there in leadership positions. So that there's that, and there's a lot of similarities to, both just great Christian family men and all this stuff. But after that, just kind of a lot of differences in just the way the programs are. And, I think Dabo Swinney had a lot more talent to work with. Tommy Bowden was fired because the basic thing was that he was underachieving with the talent that Clemson had. And I think one of the reasons Will Muschamp was let go, along with game management and maybe player development over just the last year or two, was, the recruiting had been down a little and the talent level was down. So, there's just a lot of differences there, but that comparison's going to be there, like it or not, on both sides or not, probably, from what you said. For just, there's Dabo Swinney a couple hours up the road. So, of course, Shane Beamer's going to be compared to him.
All right, so Gene, we just talked to Perry Orth. We asked him as a player. He grew up in Florida and was very, very, very close to that Florida State rivalry and others. Played in this one, so we got a player's perspective. I want to ask you. You know this landscape incredibly well as anybody out there. How do you view this South Carolina Clemson rivalry? Where do you put it in the sport? And what would it take to make it mean more on a national platform?
The last part first. To mean more, they're going to have more of those type 10 matchups they had in the Spurrier Swinney era, and there just haven't been the consistency of that. Where do I put it? It's kind of in that second tier. It's not with Alabama against Auburn. Nothing is, but I think it means so much within the borders of the state that it catches visitors and people that move here by surprise. I don't think there's the serious vitriol and animosity that you find again in the Alabama-Auburn thing, but it can get close, and within the borders of the state, it's huge. It just isn't all that well known once you get outside the borders of the state.
Mm-hmm. It's to me, it's so similar to the Egg Bowl, because Ole Miss and Mississippi State, those fans don't like each other. They have a great tradition of playing on Thanksgiving night, which I think is neat, Gene. But when this rivalry between Ole Miss and Mississippi State gets recognized, which it will be this week, in addition to the fact that they play it on a night where nobody else is playing, is when they're good. And Ole Miss is good, and Mississippi State has made noise this year, and people were paying attention. When they're not good, nobody pays attention outside of the Magnolia State. But everybody knows that it's a neat rivalry, and they don't like each other and things of that nature. So I agree with you. I think those two are very similar. Would you say that? How much have you seen of that rivalry over there?
No doubt about it. And I've used that comparison myself a lot, JME. And really, when you think about it, those two rivalries are unlike any other. Florida State, Michigan State. Either of those schools have other rivals, or they're in states where there's serious pro sports, or there's a third college that's big or something. So the Egg Bowl and the South Carolina Clemson game are really closely tied, and rarely get the national cred, but sometimes they do. And within the borders, it's pretty darn serious stuff.
I can't imagine that y'all have anything to do this week. What is the Post and Courier's sports team getting us ready for over the next few days? You and John and DC, everybody that covers this rivalry, what are we going to be watching for?
Yeah, thanks for that. I just would say that we're all over it with John Blau, David Cloninger, and myself. And, among the stories that I think is going to be pretty cool is I'm talking to Kevin and Shannon Muse, whose sons Tanner and Nick have been on both sides of this rivalry, and how their allegiances have gone from all in for Clemson to divided to now all in for Nick Muse. And it's been quite a ride for Kevin and Shannon Muse.
That will be ask them about the big Nick Energy shirts. Ask them if they bought one from their son to support NIL.
I'll bet that they did.
That shirt, by the way, would go very well, Gene. I'm sure you didn't hear earlier Patrick Davis floating around the idea of big old cock boxers to sell. The Big Nick Energy shirt matched. I mean, if you got a house divided, I mean, now you're switching allegiances.
No. Big Nick is on the South Carolina side.
Well, yeah, no. Well, now that we're one off, yeah, you top and bottom, you're good.
Oh, yes, true. Big Nick Energy and big old cock boxers. Yeah, I get it. Gene, will Jeffrey be home this week for Thanksgiving?
He will not. He will be working at his graduate assistant job at Creighton University, where he's a graduate assistant now. And he's having a good time with that, and cannot wait for baseball season to begin.
Well, let me ask you this. Does he still have any contacts at TCU? Can he give us some inside info on Gary Patterson's future?
No. He has contacts at TCU, but I don't think he knows too much about Gary Patterson's future at this point.
I'm just curious. He's probably one of your sources. That's a nice protection there by Dad. Well, Gene, in addition to the fact that you're an amazing sports writer, this is such a wonderful week for sports, obviously in our neck of the woods and across the country with college football and rivalries and things like that. But it is Thanksgiving. And most importantly, I want to wish you and your family the happiest of Thanksgivings. I hope you do get some downtime in addition to all this Clemson Carolina coverage to enjoy yourselves and your meals and relax a little bit, man. You deserve it. You do a great job. So happy Thanksgiving.
Well, thanks a lot, guys. Same to you, Jamie and Darren.
All right. You too.
See you next week. There you go. Gene Sapakoff with the Post and Courier, 2:00 on a Monday afternoon. And we are all but out of here. If you missed it, you missed a lot of fun. Patrick Davis played his guitar live on the air with us. So you'll have to go back and check that out. PD, Wes Mitchell, Perry Orth, Gene Sapakoff will have more room and time to breathe tomorrow. We'll actually be able to get back into some of the major storylines in college football, some of the coaching searches and things of that nature. The women win today in hoops. That's a big deal. They beat the crap out of UConn. But this week, certainly, though, we will be owned by Clemson and South Carolina. Plenty on that tomorrow, including Mike Morgan. So thanks to all of those who joined us, all of you who tuned in, and thanks to Darren Goldwater. We can't wait to be back tomorrow at noon right here on the JB and Goldwater Show, very proudly presented by Motley Rice, driven by Stokes Volkswagen, and we will see you then.